studied the Russian Revolution when we were at school.
My father is Estonian and grew up, he was born in 1935, so he grew up during a time in history when Estonia became part of the Soviet Union.
My friend came here a few months ago and he said it was interesting, and so we thought we would,
yeah, just thought we'd come and have a look.
And I'm not entirely impartial. My father almost died in a communist prison camp following World War II, so this has a very personal resonance for me. No, from the former Yugoslavia.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I studied this at school, so it's all vaguely familiar to me.
But I mean, there's new posters to see. That's always interesting, and the artwork's very striking. It's really vivid and optimistic, isn't it? So
I felt that communism was very masculine, and that was reflected in the majority of the posters. I mean, lots of men. The idea of the proletariat man.
Just thought it was interesting how, knowing Russian history as I studied it, and then looking at the art, how you can actually weaponize art and it can become a very dangerous thing. You know what I mean? Because the kind of projected image of what's actually going on, as opposed to what's actually really going on, the people that are suffering and stuff like that. It's kind of scary, actually.
Ideals and what happens when we have ideals. What is the stopping point where it becomes too costly?
I find it really intriguing, and I actually quite like the illustrations. I think they look amazing, and it's really interesting as well how you can use visual statements as part of propaganda and education as well.
Yeah, probably didn't pay it the respect it deserves because we were just walking through.
Just visually from the exhibition, there was a lot of red. That stuck out to me, obviously, but yeah.
I'm interested in how exhibits display the ideals of communism versus the disaster that it actually followed.
The 5-year plans were a very good period for Russia, but they're also terribly bad as well at the same time.
So it's interesting seeing it, and obviously the pictures that go along with it, like in the Stalinist era, with the people being cut out of the pictures and everything like that, and obviously the different, like the way that Trotsky was kind of removed and everything like that, and it's quite interesting.
It's kind of sadness, really.
Yes.
Because, you know, I believe millions of people in the USSR believed in what they were doing. And then, obviously, the regime turned against a lot of them. I think it underemphasizes the terror that was inflicted on the people to impose an ideology.
Yes, Stalin dragged the country out of, I guess, economic and industrial backwaters into a modern country, but at the cost of millions of lives. So I don't think it's that black and white what's good and bad.
I think at the time, as Neil said, people thought it was going to be a good thing, but now knowing the history and having grown up, knowing about the Cold War, I think it was a bad time.
And the art that it produced, the idealism, and it seems, how do you say, it seems almost naive now, the hopes and optimism that people had about the future, and we know how it turned out.